Hey there everyone, welcome back to the Dan Cave and welcome to another video build series. So this time round it's the Hasegawa 24th scale Mitsubishi Galant VR4, which I built last year. To last year I didn't build as many kits as I wanted due to kind of various other factors, meaning I didn't build as much, didn't have as much bench time. It also meant I didn't have as much video editing time, so basically I've got quite a bit of catch up to do. So the only way I thought I can catch up is by doing some very condensed builds of some of the older footage I've got, which might give me a little bit of a chance to catch up. So this video is going to be a lot shorter than previous builds. It's a single part, it's a full video build. It's about 12 minutes long, I think, give or take. Maybe a bit less, I don't know, depends on how long I waffle for, but either way it's going to be much shorter than some of the other builds, so a little bit of trial, see how it goes. But yeah, we're going to capture what I did in this build, so let's not hang about any longer. Let's head on over to the bench and see how I get on with this Hasegawa Galant. Over we go. So there's the box. In the box there's of course the all the parts. So first job is clean up of the body parts. We're going to start with the body, clean up any noticeable seam lines, rescribe any panels as necessary, and I'm also going to drill out the hole for the aerial, which will be popped on towards the end of the build. So once all that's done, body is then cleaned up and it's ready for 2 to 3 coats of UMP white primer. So the plastic is white, slightly off whitish. The white primer from UMP gives absolutely great coverage and sorts out any discoloration or blemishes on this older kit. Of course, once I'm happy with all these coats of UMP primer, that can be set aside for about 24 hours, and then I can come back in with TS26 that's been decanted for the base white colour. So again, I'm going to give that 2 to 3 coats just to build up that bright white intense colour from TS26. So TS paints, of course, can go down a little bit wetter than a lot of other lacquer paints. They seem to work better that way anyway. And once I'm happy with that, that's all been cured, it's time to mask up for the blue, which is Mr. Color C65. Yeah, just had to check on the shelf there. So masked up for the rear 3/4 panels and the boot. And I'm going to lay down, I think I laid down 4 coats of blue. Yeah, from recollection, it was about 4 coats to build up the depth of colour I wanted. That went down absolutely fine. Masking removed, no problems with that whatsoever. And then it's time to move on to the decal process. So I am just speeding up the footage of the decal process because, as I said at the start, this is a somewhat condensed build. But decal process is exactly the same as normal. Some warm water off to the side, UMP decal solutions. I think I only used the normal and a little bit of the strong in this case, but all those decals go down absolutely fine. The white decals are a little discoloured, which is a little bit disappointing. But as this was a quick kind of mojo builder build, I just went with the kit decals. Gives it a bit of an old school look to a certain extent. So once those decals have been cured for at least 24 hours, it's time to go in with the clear coat. So I'm using Gravity Spain 2K, and that's going to go down in 3 coats. The first coat is a tack coat, so you're not looking for a shiny surface. Then it's on to coat number 2. After that's sat for about 15 minutes, and then that's the first full wet coat. And that's where you can start building up that beautiful glossy finish. You can tolerate a little bit of orange peel in this coat, but you don't want too much. You're looking for that first clear coat. Another 15 minutes, we come back for coat number 3. And again, that can be a full wet coat. It can be a lighter wet coat as well if you want, if you're happy with how glossy it is from the second coat. The third coat can be quite light just to deal with any orange peel. But however, that is another gloss. That is another full wet coat going on in this particular kit. So of course, once that's done, that can be set aside for 4 to 5 days minimum, we'll say. It could be even longer. While that's curing away, it's time to move on to cleaning up all the interior chassis running gear parts, get them into primer. In this case, the chassis has been primed in UMP white, and then TS26 again on that. Suspension springs are primed in white because the springs themselves are going to be coloured. I think they're painted red a bit later on. Seats get primed in UMP black. So all those parts, once they've been primed, they can then be detail painted, and then that all comes together in this relatively simple interior. Now there is photo etch for the seatbelts included in the kit, and I've used the kit supplied material for seatbelt harnesses. I think I would have preferred to use ribbon. I don't think this material is particularly good or looks that nice. But however, once everything has been painted and detail painted, it can all be assembled. Straightforward assembly of the chassis, the running gear, the exhaust. Once all that is done, it's time to move over to flattening back the body. So the body itself, I'm using God hand sponges, 6, 8, 10,000 grit, starting with the 6, getting rid of any high spots on the clear, any dust spots, then working my way up to the 8, and then finally onto the 10. So using plenty of water, drying it off when necessary, and once that's all done, I can move on to using the UMP polishing compounds to restore that beautiful shine, and hopefully a more consistent shine because we flattened back and removed any high spots and dust, etc. So once I'm happy with the polish, it's time to mask up for all the black trim parts. So I'm going to speed up the footage again. So things like the front grille, the window surrounds, screen surrounds, all of those will get painted in semi-gloss black. But first of all, it's the job of masking it all up. So once, of course, it's all masked up, it's then time to head on over to the spray booth and lay down that semi-gloss black. So again, first couple of coats quite light because you don't want any bleed through on the masking because it just gives more cleanup stuff to do. Build it up gradually until eventually you get that absolutely spot on depth of coverage. But as you can see, very light coats, probably going it over 3 or 4 times. I also spray the inside of the roof on this occasion, but 3 or 4 times round it, and you get that lovely rubber trim finish. So masking can then be removed, and then it's time to start assembling the final bits of the car. So first up, let's get the windscreen in. There'll be a rear view mirror, then the previously assembled interior and chassis. That will come next. So that can be popped in. Sometimes there's little locating tabs, can require a little bit of a squeeze on the body just to get them in place. But generally it just pushes together, no glue required. And once that's popped in place, at least satisfactorily popped in place, just like so, can begin to add some of the final touches on the exterior, like adding the rear light clusters, the front light clusters, the rear spoiler. Things like wing mirrors can be added. And then finally, the wheels and tires can be popped on. Now, I do end up with a bit of an issue on the rear left. I think the hub actually shears off, so that gets glued back in place. But I think it does have some ride height issues. But that's pretty much the build complete. So let's have a look at some of the final photos of how all this came together in the end. Oh, I think I'm going to show some final photos. Yeah, there we go. Put it back down, leave it alone. And there we go, final photos. So reasonably happy. Many things I could have done better. It was a bit of a quick build, a mojo builder. This has been a quick video review of that build. Let's head on back to me for those final thoughts just about now. So there we go. There's the Galant, Hasegawa Galant 24th scale, done and dusted. So much shorter format, much more condensed. I've tried to keep the key elements in there of the kit. As you can see, I'm talking a little bit faster because I'm aware this is a shorter video. But yeah, am I happy with that build? Not really. I genuinely think that was one of the poorer builds I did last year. Again, it was in that kind of period of when I had a lot of travel, a lot of work commitments, doing a lot of work in the garden as well. So it was kind of when I had time, I tended to rush through a few bits of it. Decals are a bit rubbish, yellowed a bit over time, but I just went with them. Kind of wanted to do it a little bit more as, we'll say, a little bit of a mojo builder throughout the year. Did enjoy the build. Not overall happy with the outcome in the end, but it's all right. It sits in there with the rest of, we'll say, the 90s kind of Group A rally cars. Like the Legacy and the Pulsar when I build it, and a few other kits like that. And yeah, like the M3 as well, which I built recently. To be an upcoming video as well. But yeah, other than that, a fairly straightforward kit from Hasegawa. I would like to think I would build it again. Some of the other schemes are interesting, but with so many other kits in the stash, you never know. Probably never get round to it. So there we go. Thank you for watching. If you're not a subscriber, don't forget to subscribe down below. Don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up, and feel free to leave any comments. So I'm going to cut it there because the video is quite short anyway. So that's enough of me waffling. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon in another video. Bye for now.